Hello and welcome to Girl, The Journey Begins With You podcast with your host, Olivia B. Shepherd, your life empowerment mentor. This podcast is the first step to helping you on your journey of recovery, healing, and empowerment. Olivia will have you learning how to take control of your life again. She'll definitely discuss a wide range of topics. You ask, and she tells. If you enjoy this podcast, please tune in every Friday for a new episode wherever you download your podcast.
Hello and welcome to your Girl, Your Journey Starts Here podcast. I am your host, Olivia B. Shepherd, and your life empowerment mentor. Thank you for tuning into this week's podcast where I am dedicated to the empowerment of women and discussing real issues that affect us all. This podcast presents the best content on mental health, self-development, and self-care, and not to mention real talk. So let's jump right into today's topic. Today's topic is going to be a little different. This one might step on a couple of toes as well. And you know what? That's okay with me because we all need to learn some different things and some new lessons. So here we go. This topic this week is one inspired by something that I heard my father say the other day as I'm his caretaker. So I was taking him to the doctor and he said something to me about his past. And he got me to thinking. So today's topic, don't believe anyone who tells you your past doesn't matter. Now, I know that, you have that old cliche where, you see it on every meme, everywhere you go, all over the world that says your past doesn't define you. You know what? I don't believe that. I absolutely do not believe that. I believe that your past is something that you learn from. And I also believe that if you continue to go to your past or look to your past, you can learn how to overcome everything that you needed to in order to be a better person in your future. Okay. Now, I don't like to pretend that I had this great past because I didn't. And a lot of us probably have not had a great past. If you are listening to my podcast and you suffer from mental illness like I do myself, or addiction, or, alcoholism, something like that, then your past probably was pretty much, basically like mine. You had some parents that probably neglected you. You had some molestation or rape or some type of trauma in your life. So you don't really want to look in your past. But I know that could be kind of scary. But no. Hear me out just for a little bit. Now, I think when they say that your past doesn't matter, I think they mean things like me. I'll use me, for instance. Like, I didn't graduate traditionally like my other classmates. I literally graduated from an alternative school because I was like a little rebel without a cause. So I didn't graduate in 1995 like most of my classmates. I didn't walk down the aisle. I didn't do any of that stuff with my classmates. I graduated the year later in 1996. And I was okay with that, I didn't know if I was okay with that. I just knew I needed to get my high school diploma, and that's all that mattered to me. Now, as I look back on my past, a lot of stuff in my past is horrible. There's some things in my past that I do talk about that I'm okay with. But, if I told you everything here, this would be a 4-hour podcast. But there are some things in my past that, I'm like, ooh, it's just kind of gruesome. But let me tell you why your past doesn't define you with that cliche. Now, my past didn't define me because I did graduate from high school. I did end up getting my degrees. I was a teenage mom. That was something else that was in my past. I ended up being totally successful, owning my own business, getting married to a man that takes care of me, and that is wonderful. Not because I dwelled on my past, because my past did not define me as that person. I wasn't that person, teenage mom, high school dropout, or I don't know how you would say that, but I didn't get my degree my high school diploma at the same time. But my past did not define who I am right now because nobody actually knew that. Okay, that's the problem. A lot of people didn't really know how I graduated. A lot of people didn't really know, how long it took me to get my degrees. Just a lot of people didn't know because that's just them not knowing. That's their problem, not mine, because I'm an open book. But let me tell you, and in that case, your past doesn't define you. because you can always overcome all those stereotypes. Like I was a single, unwed mom, okay? You know, that whole unwed mom thing. I was that. So what? I ended up wedding 20, maybe 10, 15 years later, but okay, now I'm married. So that particular little meme of your past doesn't define you, it may be true. But here's why I disagree. Because when you look back on your past, now think of some things that are going on in your life right now. If you are listening to this podcast, and if you're one of the ladies that are in my group or the ladies that I mentor, all of us suffer from some type of mental illness, okay? And where do you think that stemmed from? Okay, think about where that's probably stemmed from. In my case, I was raped at 12 by a close family member. Okay, now my past doesn't define me, but my past makes me who I am today. And that's why you need to dwell on your past. You do need to go back and revisit your past because your past helps you become the person you are going to be. Now, with me being raped, I didn't talk about it when I was shut out, when nobody told me not to say anything else about it. I never talked about it again all those years, 13, 14, 15, teenage years, high school years, when I was a parent. I didn't talk about that stuff. But let me tell you why your past does matter. Because if I had actually dwelled on my past and had brought up my past years ago, I might not have been that suicidal 40-year-old, okay? I might have not been that suicidal 40-year-old. All because I swept my past under the rug and I should have been dwelling on my past. I didn't. I did not let my past even come nowhere near me. I just tuned it out. I didn't want to hear about it. I didn't want to think about it. Okay? And if I hadn't waited until right when I turned 40 to try to commit suicide because I had a mental breakdown. If I had confronted my past a long time ago, I might not be where I'm at right now today. Okay? Suffering from mental illness, bunches of medications, recovering alcoholic, all because I swept my past underneath the rug. Okay, let me tell you another reason why you should be paying attention to your past. What were your parents' financial situations? Okay, and I know you're saying like, well, what does that got to do with it? Let me tell you what that has to do with it. If you are listening to me and you are suffering from various types of mental illnesses, I'm pretty sure you're also suffering from some type of financial strain. Or have been, or you owe a whole bunch of student loans, or hell, you are in debt, okay? And your side hustle is, trying to sell different products or a podcast or a blog. So let me tell you why your past matters. Because when I say what your parents' financial history was, because in the past, what were your parents like financially? No. Now, did you come from a home like me where my mom was a single mom who did depend on welfare for some years? Where my mom didn't own a home, where my mom was a single mom with no man helping her, so she had to work several jobs. Now, look at my past. Look at my mother's past. Well, not her past, but my past. And look where I am today. Financially, I was in shambles. Nobody taught me about credit. So my credit was a horrible mess. All because of my past life, what my family life was like. I didn't see in my family home that credit was everything. I didn't see in my family home anybody saving money. I didn't see in my family home people telling me that, you need to invest in this or you need to invest in that. I didn't see that. So my past life put me into a spiral of reckless spending because I didn't know any better. So now when I dwell on my past, I look where I come from, where I was to where I am now. I successfully know how to save money. I successfully know how to invest if I need to. I have all the resources and the tools because you know why? I don't want to relive my past. See, I think people get the misconception that if you dwell on your past, you're reliving it. No, you're learning from it. And I don't want to be my parents. I don't want to be that parent that doesn't have any money saved up for her grandchildren. I don't want to be that parent who doesn't save anything for my son. When I die, he's left with all of the bills or the medical bills, or he doesn't have a house or anything like that. All that stems from is your past. Okay? That stems from your past. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying anything that my mom was a bad person, because it also is from her past. Okay? Because she wasn't taught that. Because my grandmother is from the country, deep down cotton picking country, and I'm really sure with her not having, any education, that credit was not on their mind back then. I mean, my grandmother had 13 kids and my mom was the 13th. So by the time she got to mama, I'm pretty sure credit or savings was something she probably didn't discuss. So my mom, I'm not saying that my mom or your parents or whoever raised you is a bad person, but that is something in your past that you need to continue to look back at to learn from. Okay? The power of your past it can teach you a lot. It can teach you about suffering. It can teach you about the joys of our existence. Reliving your past. Yes, like I said, there's some things in my past that I absolutely cry about. But I'm no longer that person. So I know that I have overcome. I see the gains in my life. Okay? What about past mistakes in your life, like being sexually active in my case? I had sex at 12. Okay? I'm not ashamed of that. It's not my mom's fault. I didn't grow up in a household where, that kind of stuff was allowed. But my mom was really strict, but I actually had sex when I was 12 years old. I was very promiscuous. I don't have a problem with telling you that. But you know why I dwell on my past? And my husband, I've been married to my husband for 14 years, as you all know if you listen to the podcast. And, when I met him, somebody told me, and it might have been my sister or a friend or somebody was like, you told him about all the people you slept with and all the things you used to do in your past? I did. Now he doesn't want to hear it. He didn't want to hear it per se, but I'm not ashamed of my past, because you know why? When I was having sex with all of those men, I constantly stayed safe, and I had one kid. I know a lot of girls my age, I'm 42 now, but there were a lot of girls my age already had 3, 4, 5 kids by the time we were out of high school. Now, I'm not saying go out here and have sex with everybody in the world and be like me. No, that's not what I'm telling you. But what I'm telling you is I learned from my past, because when I got to my future, I realized, hey, now I don't want to just have sex just to be having sex. I want to have sex. I want to make love. I want my husband to make love to me, or whoever my future husband was going to be at the time. I then knew that I wanted this person to love me and love my body because he loved me, not using my body. So when I would look back to my past of all the men that I've encountered, I knew what I wanted going forth. I like to tell people that I'm an open book, because my past does matter. My past makes me who I am today. Your past is going to make you who you are. It doesn't define me, because I define me. But I don't like hearing people say your past doesn't matter, because it does. It does. Just say another instance. What if you grew up in an abusive home? And all because you don't want to revisit your past, you're yelling, you're cussing, you're hitting your kids, or you're leaving them alone, or you're not paying them any attention. That could all stem from your past. But because you have gotten this cliche of your past doesn't define you, you don't realize that you're doing the things that you learned in your past, that you saw in your past. So you need to go revisit that. Okay, where am I getting this crazy yelling at my kids attitude from? And if you go back down memory lane, boom, your dad treated you that way. Your mom treated you that way. Your adopted mom, your foster mom, whatever, you will see in your past that this person was that way, and that's why you're that way now. But because you didn't revisit your past to say, hey, you know what? I'm not taking that into my future. I'm not taking this behavior into the future when I'm going to have kids. All because you have sat around and listened to people telling you your past doesn't matter. So what? You came from an abusive home. Your past doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Because you are definitely, and I'm not going to say 9 times out of 10 you're going to end up the same way. Now, because that used to worry me when I was raped or molested. Well, either one. I guess you could put it underneath either category. And I used to worry that I would do that to children. I mean, I'm out here, I'm an open book. That worried me. I thought that was some hereditary thing. That's why, I suffer from mental illness to this day. The PTSD. That always would get me because I'm like, I don't want to have a child because what if I do the same thing? What if I get those urges? What if I do the exact same thing this person did to me? So I'm not going to say that, all things rub off on you from your past. But 9 times out of 10, if you are in an abusive household, you're going to pick up abusive tendencies. And that is like factually, accurate. Okay. Now I don't know and I have not done it, and I don't know if this is something that happens in other people's pasts. So, I've heard when people say, well, they were molested, so they molested thousands of children or whatever. I don't know if that factually is true. I don't know if it's just you had that. I don't know that part. But I do know if you grow up in an abusive home, you are 9 times more likely to also be abusive or end up in an abusive relationship. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to happen because it didn't happen to me. Okay? All I'm saying is if you constantly forget your past, try to wipe it out, don't want to revisit it, how are you going to learn from it? How are you going to grow from it? How are you going to move on from it? The past, however, must be put in its place. Okay? You have to put your past in its place. Okay? You have to say to your past, I am no longer this person. I am no longer going to be defined by that past. But guess what, past? I'm no longer scared of you. I will learn from you. And sometimes you may need to bring your past up several times throughout your life just to get it together. I brought my past up several times since I've been in the hospital. I brought my past up a lot of times in therapy. I brought my past up when I'm doing my lives or if I'm doing my podcast. I bring my past up because I no longer let it scare me. My past doesn't scare me. My past is a stepping stone to the person I am today. I have stepped into this greatness, and that's who I am. And that has nothing to do with my past because your past can help you overcome. Your past can help you grow and become the best human being you can be. But yes, you do have to relive your past. I really believe you need to relive your childhood past, your teenage past, your adult past, because, some of us have been adults, and had a past. I most certainly have. I have a past as an adult of just going to jail all the time. I no longer do those things. Now, let me tell you about your past and how sneaky it can be when you let other people use your past. Because what will happen, you will get those critics who are going to say, well, you used to do this, or in the past, you used to. You tell them that they can kiss your past goodbye. Because if they're still holding on to your past, then let them do it. You don't have to hold on to your past. I just want you to go back and revisit and learn from it. And I like to say, and then again, I might take it back. Your past probably does define you. It defines you because you can say, hey, that's who I used to be. That's not who I am anymore. I am great. I am spectacular. I am woman. Hear me roar. But if somebody else is dwelling on your past, you need to kick them and your past to the curb. Period. if they're dwelling on your past. You don't have to dwell on it. I just want you to relive it just a couple of times in order to get past your future self, so that you will say to yourself, you know what, self, my past might have been bad, but guess what? I have lived, I have learned, and I have much respect for myself. I got mad respect for my past because that past taught me to be a better me. And it's okay. It is okay, people. I promise you, it's okay to relive your past. Now, for those of you who have pasts that you just really, that trigger you, I'm definitely not talking to you all. But for those of us who can handle going back down memory lane and looking at those stupid mistakes we made, the stupid men we slept with or women we slept with, or, like I said, me going to jail, relive your past. Now I laugh at my past. I laugh at my past because I no longer want to go to jail. I don't want to lose my freedom. I thought it was okay then, back then. It made me a little tough. It's stupid. Okay? I don't want to be like that. I look back at my past credit and my past saving history and my past mistakes with money. And I laugh at it because guess what? I'm no longer that person anymore. So your past doesn't quite define you, but you do need to go back, relive it, so that it can make you a better you, okay? Your past is your strength. Your past becomes your source of bravery. Your past is your stepping stone to the future you, okay? So I hope this message finds you all well this week. I really enjoyed talking about it because I think a lot of people should be dwelling on their past, just so that you can become a better person in the future. That's just my opinion. I am no doctor, so I can't really tell you that this could actually be true or not. I'm just giving you my experience, okay? Just giving you my experience. So thank you for tuning in this week. I am going to wrap up. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook at Olivia Ashes to Beauty, on Twitter at Ashes to Beauty 18, Instagram Olivia B. Shepherd. Don't forget to join my group, my Facebook group, if you are looking for some more motivation. It is called Unleashing Your Mask, Living, Thriving, and Healing from Depression. I love that group. I love the ladies in that group. We share, we mentor, we inspire, we encourage each other, and that's what I intend to do if you're there as well. So thanks for tuning in this week. I shall speak with you all on next Friday when I drop a new episode. Peace and love. Bye now.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. Don't forget to submit any questions you have via email or DM on social media. She might just feature your answer on the show. Also, please leave a review and stay tuned for more episodes every Friday.